Okay, we're ready to go ahead and start laying our stones. We've got a batch of concrete mixed. So what we're going to do is one at a time, we're not going to pick them up. We're actually going to lift our stones up and place them aside. Use our grub hoe and just dig out a little bit beneath the stone. Put some concrete in the hole and then go ahead and level them from bump to bump. These stones are not going to be perfectly level, obviously. So we'll find the levelest spot and use our level to see if we can, get it pretty close so it's comfortable to walk on. We're not looking to dig down a couple feet and put a big footing in. All we want to do is dig down deep enough that the stone can go as deep as we need it to be and to level it. The concrete's going to add a little bit more mass to the stone, so it's also going to have more bulk and it's not going to move as easy once the concrete hardens. I try to set my stepping stones 2 to 3 inches above the grade because I know I'm going to come back and put some mulch down. If I installed all these stones flush with the grade, I just end up covering them with mulch. If there's a sidewalk or a lawn, I'll usually put my first stepping stone a little bit higher than the sidewalk or the lawn, so you have to step up a little bit to get to it. That's going to make it stand out a little bit more because I know that there's going to be mulch usually up to the level of the lawn or the sidewalk, so I'll go a little bit higher. You want to try to avoid great changes in the height of your stones because if the height changes very quickly, it's going to become a tripping hazard. In this situation, the grade drops down a little bit, so I'm going to try to very evenly have my stones slope down. Doesn't have to be perfect, but evenly. A little bit of regularity to your steps, to your distances of drop. I just wanted to clarify, we're always going to install our stones level. Even if the grade is dropping, the stones are going to be level. But as the stones are level, each stone is going to be a little bit lower. It's not a good idea to install stepping stones at an angle to match the hill. Nobody wants to be walking on an angle. Each stepping stone is going to step up a little bit if you're going up or down a grade. Let's see if I can go ahead and talk you through this first one. First I'm going to go ahead and move the stone and try to remember where it was placed. This is a fairly narrow stone, so I don't have to dig down too much. Now I'm going to place a little bit of my concrete and fluff it a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and put our stone in the concrete. And we'll very slowly kind of rock it back and forth. Next we're going to go ahead and take our level. There's a bump here and it's fairly flat, so we'll just put that level about there. And that should do all right. And then over on this side, I'll tell you, there's a high spot on the rock about here. So as I'm eyeballing that, it's looking pretty good. The level's on it and it's close. But I don't think I'm going to be doing much better, so that's about all I need to do for this rock. Now is just going to be not to walk on it until the mortar dries. The other thing I should remember to do is, as you're working, you can always check where you are in relation to the edge of your bed by bringing out your stick, and here I can see that I'm just about right where I need to be. So I think that was a bit of luck. It usually doesn't go that easy, but that's the idea. Now we'll go ahead and dig out the next one and place that one a little bit lower, still level, than this first one. One tool I forgot today is it's nice to have either a dead blow hammer or a small 3-pound hammer. If you ever need to persuade your rocks to go lower, you can always tap them a little bit with a hammer. All I have today is an 8-pound sledge, and I may end up using that, but if I mix my mortar right, the stones, I can just kind of shimmy the stones to get them lower. Let's go ahead and give our next victim a shot. This one's a little bit deeper. I want to be a little bit lower than this one. And I have to keep in mind the level that I'm going to have at this one. I want to be a little higher than this guy, a little lower than this guy. And it's a fairly deep stone, so this hole is going to be significantly deeper than the one we did for the previous. I'll just rock the stone out of the way. Try to keep an eye on where it was. This one's a little tricky, so I will go ahead and check the depth. And we should be all right there. So it's got to come up about 2 inches, so I'll take her back out again. And we'll go ahead and put a couple inches of concrete. Now this edge of the stone it's got a long narrow part. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this side of the hole to account for that. Looks like I had moved a little bit too far downhill. Now I can use my 4-foot level. I just hold the level, and that tells me how far I've dropped. Which is a pretty decent amount. So now we can check with the one down below. And I know this one down below is going to drop down a good 2 or 3 inches once I install it. So this actually does look about right for the height. Using my finger as a guide for the length, from here to here is this distance, so I want the distance from here to here to be the same, or at least close. So I do want to push this guy a little bit over that way. that's good. Okay, so we've got the right distance, we've got the right height. Now all we need to do now is go ahead and level it. The bubble is touching on this side, so I need to either lower the back or raise the front. I'm going to go for lowering the back, so let me just hit it a few times with the sledgehammer. And now I'll go ahead and raise the front to make up the difference. If I had my smaller sledgehammer, I'd be using that right now to push this concrete under the stone. Okay, so now we're level front to back. Let's check side to side. We're just a touch high in the back. So that's about as good as it gets. Now all I'm going to do is take my trowel and push a little bit of mortar underneath the stone so there's no air gaps. So once that mortar turns hard, it'll really do a nice job of cradling that stone. I'm just going to put a little bit more in the front for good measure. And that should be good.